Vietnam for the PC, Bomberman Jetters for the GameCube. And in Versus, it's World Tour Soccer 2005 against Winning 11-7 International. Some of the games we look at in Reviews on the Run are intended for a mature audience. Please pay attention to each game's ESRB rating. All right, well, seeing as we can use the waves and the water and this beautiful sunny day as inspiration, we're going to start talking about Carve, which is developed by Argonaut and is for the Xbox.
The guys behind iNinja.
iNinja
and Kung Fu Chaos.
And Buck Bumble. Remember Buck Bumble? And they worked on Star Fox. I got to do Buck Bumble as a buried treasure. Anyways, this is kind of like Splashdown or Wave Race.
Well, what it is, it's like Splashdown light.
It's definitely pulling elements from those things, but not doing it as sharply or as flashy as those games.
This really is the epitome of mediocrity. You play a game like Wave Race, you play a game like Splashdown, and you go, wow, and the controls are perfect, and the tricks are cool, and the enemies are challenging, and the levels are beautiful. This is just like,
I think it's a little better than
It goes better than
It's a little better than and we can
it's
actually,
like,
you guys can quote us on the box if you want to do that. But what's cool about it is this is the first time you're actually going to be able to race watercraft on Xbox Live.
I waited for a half hour for somebody to play with me.
All right, there's not enough of you guys playing this game online. It's only $20.
There's two of you out there.
It's worth playing online.
I think they are from Europe. I got called a wanker and a tosser for some 12-year-old English kid. Is that a good term?
Yeah, I think so.
Wanker is good, right?
Yeah, I think so. Here's the thing about Carve, though. It's a budget price game. It's a quality product for a pretty low price.
I got a problem with that whole budget mentality. I got to be honest with you.
Why?
Because they didn't hit their mark, is what they're telling you.
No, I don't think they're saying.
If it was a great game,
I don't think
so.
so.
For $50.
I don't think they're saying this is a bad game. We're going to sell it for cheap.
It's not a bad game.
I think they're saying we don't think these are going to sell that well if we put it at regular price.
Right.
But for $20, you get quite a bit of game for your money. I mean, you get a championship mode where you can pick a team. You've got these 4 different squads that you can pull from. There's lots of music in there. A lot of the music gets a little repetitive, but they did throw in tons of tunes, tons of tracks. The levels are all kind of original. You've got Arctic levels. You're racing around inside of these shipyards.
They don't look as good as Splashdown. The graphics.
I think they look pretty darn good. I like the water effects. I think it looks better than Wave Race on the GameCube.
I don't know, the water. It's all about the water.
The one thing about the water, I mean, we don't get waves like this. There's none of this kind of action in the game at all.
But in Splashdown,
it started to get a bit more. And I mean, that's the thing that Wave Race always had. They always had great water wave physics.
And Splashdown, it had even better stuff.
Nah, it was Splashdown started to get it.
I'll tell you, the best part of the game was the asses. Did you see the asses in this game? I mean, it's hard not to see the asses when you're doing this the whole game.
Yeah, it's nice.
You're doing that the whole game.
We don't need to see that again. So what are you going to give Carve then?
I couldn't get into it. I can't wait for Splashdown. Hopefully that'll come online.
I don't know.
But, I'm going to give this a 6.5.
I think this is a great alternative to Splashdown, and the price is right, 7.5. On the positive side, this is a pretty good deal for around $20. You can play Carve online, and despite what Tommy says, I think the graphics are pretty sweet.
On the negative side, although it is great to see it online, there's barely anyone to play against. Although it does well in each area of the game, it just doesn't blow you away in any of them. And finally, we would have liked to have seen a lot better wave physics.
Okay, we're going to move on now to another game with tons of beach action. We're talking Battlefield Vietnam, which was published by Electronic Arts for the PC. What'd you think of this one?
This is really the online version of like their Medal of Honor series almost. It's a military game.
They have a single-player game in there.
They do have a single-player game in there.
I think they have a major issue with their single-player team. I don't know what they're doing there. Everybody was aware of the problems in 1942, so I don't know why they dropped the ball this time. It should have been a lot more fun. You can't count on your AI teammates at all, and the enemies are ridiculously easy to kill.
This game is all about the online experience. The cool thing is you can get up to 64 people.
Yes.
All playing online at the same time, which is pretty incredible.
It's pretty amazing.
And the great thing about this franchise is that you can literally go anywhere and do anything.
In 1942, of course, they had all the WW2 vehicles and stuff like that, but they had to enhance all the technology for Vietnam. So we've got Hueys, we've got jets, you know, better machine guns.
Right.
I mean, it's great that they've added the jets and the choppers and all this stuff into it, but if they're not fun to fly, like it's like the Banshee in Halo was a blast to get in and fly, and you felt like you were in a battle and flying over a battle. Same thing with Unreal Tournament 2004. In this thing, you're zipping across the sky. There's fog over the places where you're supposed to hit because the draw-in distance doesn't go up far enough, and it's just hard to control.
You can also set booby traps, which is a new thing, because that was a big kind of warfare element in Vietnam. So, you know, you set up your punji sticks, and that's always fun to watch somebody fall into those. They go to great lengths to make sure that, you know, the detail, like the voices and the weapon
soundtracks,
sounds.
all the 60s music and everything.
The soundtrack, you got some CCR and Jefferson Airplane.
Yep.
So they go through great detail in getting to make you feel like you're there.
Yep.
But then they do the cheesiest deaths and dies. Forget about blood. You don't get any of that stuff.
Well, it's just difficult to sort of think of this war as an arcade experience.
Right.
You know, I mean, it just really is. We've all seen the Oliver Stone movies and you know, Full Metal Jacket and all that stuff, so it's very difficult to take those images out of your head and sit down to this game, and it's just an arcadey thing where people can pop up and disappear.
Well, I mean, I did a tour in Nam.
Oh, you did?
I was there.
Yeah. You were one? How big were the boots? About that big?
Little baby boots.
Your little baby combat boots?
I'll tell you, another disappointing aspect, to be honest with you, was the graphics.
Not that great.
I mean, this game
Especially
came out...
compare it to Far Cry, man.
Or Call of Duty.
And with the jungles in Far Cry, they do have foliage, and it's much better looking than 1942.
But they didn't do it to the next level.
It's not approaching
let's put it this way, this game ain't winning any awards this year.
I mean, it's awesome to be able to team up and you know, overtake bases with players and jump into choppers and jeeps with other people. But
well, like you said, compared to Far Cry,
compared to Far Cry,
Call of Duty,
or Unreal Tournament 2004,
doesn't stack up.
It's a good game, but not great. 7.5 out of 10.
I'm giving it a 7.
On the positive side, this game features some brand new vehicles and weapons to have fun with. You can have up to 64 people playing at the same time. And Tommy's favorite part, you can set booby traps.
I just like the booby part.
Right.
On the negative side, the graphics just don't stack up to the current competition. The single-player game is ass, and we don't particularly care for how sanitized the whole Vietnam War is in this experience.
Stick around, there's plenty more explosions coming up in our review of Bomberman Jetters.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, I'm just waiting out here. Me and some of the other serfs are gonna storm the castle a little bit, and while I'm waiting for the serfs to arrive, I'm playing some Fire Emblem on my Game Boy Advance SP. I love this game, absolutely love this game. It's from the same guys that brought us Advance Wars 1 and 2, which was also an incredible experience. Love both of those games as well. But what they've done this time, it's still one of those turn-based strategy games where you take a turn and then the computer takes a turn and you're moving units around and watching them battle each other. It's still that kind of stuff in this game, but what they've done is added this very cool, complex, deep RPG storyline to it. So you really feel like you're involved with all of these different characters that they're introducing. And one of the cool things that they've done with the gameplay this time, when you lose one of your units, it's not like you can just recreate them and have them come back into the battle later on. If you lose one of your friends in battle, they're gone, and they're gone for good. So that's a very cool element in the gameplay here because you actually really start to care about these characters. They all have their own unique personalities. There's lots of stuff to read, so if you're one of those RPG players out there that likes to really get into the storyline, you're gonna find lots to enjoy in this one. You've got javelins, you've got swords, you've got axes, you've got magic powers. You meet up with new people in the towns and stuff, and they'll give you little gifts and items that you can use in your battles. The music is awesome. It has this very cool orchestral score going throughout the game. Love the graphics. Love all of the different units that you can play as. But if you lose one of your key characters in a battle, the mission's over, and you've got to start that whole level over again, which is kind of a drag, but it also adds a layer of challenge and real sort of intensity while you're playing this game. This is a fantastic Game Boy Advance cartridge. Definitely worth picking up, even if you've got both of the other Advance Wars games and Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. Check it out. It's Fire Emblem for the GBA, 9.5 out of 10. We're back. Gotta say, it was a little bit nicer down by the beach, but that's okay. This is a nice view, and we're gonna talk all about Bomberman Jetters. Which is from...
Jeters.
It's Jetters.
Bomberman Derek Jeters?
No, you got baseball in the brain. Bomberman Jetters from Majesco for the GameCube. What'd you think of this one?
Well, Bomberman Jeters has got to be probably the worst game I've played this entire year.
Are you kidding me?
This game is the worst. Don't tell me you
Come
like
on.
this game.
I did enjoy this game.
Yeah, are you kidding me?
I like my Bomberman.
Get out of here.
Bomberman's
This game
always
had
fun.
nothing to do with Bomberman.
Yes, it did.
This was the
Has the
poorest,
multiplayer Bomberman
saddest
stuff in it.
excuse for a platform pile of crap.
The
put
minute
this
there's
game
a
in my
QC
system.
character, you're shutting your mind
no,
off on
no,
this stuff.
it's a, you know, because you can put a monkey in a ball and roll it down a hill,
you love
and I'm
Super Monkey
happy
Ball.
as pie.
Bomberman.
Let's talk first about the graphics.
All right.
The most ridiculous, sad excuse for graphics I've ever seen on the Nintendo GameCube. True or false?
Well, it looks like
True
an
or false?
N64 game.
Thank you.
You're not
okay,
buying this
now
game
let's
for
talk
graphics.
about the sound. Bad or good?
Bad.
Be careful. The area boss is approaching.
Okay.
All right,
now
voiceovers
let's talk.
are bad.
Let's talk
Sounds aren't too bad, though. The sounds are okay.
Let's talk about the invisible walls.
Okay, there are a lot of invisible walls.
Which you
invisible walls,
hate.
I know, I hate that. I really do.
Let me show you what the enemies do. Oh, the enemies are great.
Yeah.
Remember back in 1983? This, this, this.
You're also collecting little creatures to help you out that are called Carve, and sometimes you'll
hear
have
this?
stuff. Well, that's part of the game. All right, that's extra part of the game. So you'll be able to ride a shark and go through the water, or grab a character that you can jump up to higher levels. Or
What
something
about
like
how
that.
slow the character moves?
I thought it was fine. And you're not mentioning the best part of this thing, which is
the
all the
multiplayer.
multiplayer. It's awesome,
Look
man.
at multiplayer.
So-
I get a round character and I get to move
Listen.
around a square.
Listen.
Ooh!
And the other thing, this is another budget title, $20,
You know, $20.
and you get all of this
I
multiplayer and a single-player adventure.
This game could have
The
been
levels are
$5.
kinda
I wouldn't
interesting.
recommend anyone
come
to
on.
play. I wipe my
It's
bum
not-
with this game.
Wow.
Yeah, I wipe my bum.
I don't
with
think
it.
I've ever heard you say that about a game before.
Of course, I said it about high heat.
You wipe your bum with high heat, too?
I tell you what, I feel
You're-
dumber
What are you
by
comparing
playing
this
this
thing? What are you
game. Do you
comparing
understand
this
what
game
I'm saying?
to? What are you comparing it to? Why?
Halo, of course.
It's a Halo.
No,
yeah,
I
this
just-
does not stack up well to Halo.
Yeah, look, you cannot compare this game
You
to
have
anything
to.
else, and I'll tell you why.
You have to
Because
compare-
no one in the
and-
right freaking mind would ever put out a game in the
Yes,
21st century
There
like
are
this.
a lot of people that still like Bomberman. They enjoy this style
This
of gameplay.
game is going to
There-
tank
there-
so hard.
There are not other games like this out there. I enjoyed this game. I don't care what you say. 7 out of 10.
Oh my God, I'm going to throw myself off the mountain.
All right.
I tell you what, this game gets what it deserves. I'm giving it the 2.
On the positive side, the single-player game provides an addictive experience. It's fun to play. I know it's a ripoff of Pokemon, but collecting Carabomb is actually kind of fun. But the best part about any Bomberman game are the multiplayer stages.
On the negative side, there's invisible walls everywhere. The graphics are absolutely horrible. The game moves slow as hell. The artificial intelligence on the enemies is brutal. There's lots of text and reading. The VO is terrible. The crappy music. I just don't like it at all.
Okay, I think we got to calm things down here a little bit and talk about some hardware now. We're going to talk about a peripheral for the Game Boy Advance. This is Hipgear's Grip with 20-hour battery. Now, what'd you think of this thing?
Well, I mean, here you go. You got this grip
Yep,
for your Game Boy Advance. So,
SP, right, the small square
So
Game
the
Boy.
small square that you fit in your pocket.
Right.
Now you can't do that anymore because you have big grips that you carry in a suitcase. Now it does do, I don't know, 5,000 hours of battery life. What is it?
20 hours,
20, okay, well that's close.
which is not bad.
20 hours. I mean, where are you going to be in a 20-hour period where you can't get to a jack? I mean, unless you're on a plane to like Thailand.
That's the thing, though. The Game Boy Advance SP has a great battery built into it.
That has like what, 10 hours.
So what do you think of the Hipgear Grip?
I just, for me personally, you're asking me personally.
I am, yeah. That's
Me
what that's
personally,
what we do. Yeah.
I wouldn't use this.
I wouldn't either. no
Others
way.
might say yes.
Right.
Others might love this, but
Yes.
I personally don't.
So you're not going to recommend it?
No, I'm not.
Me neither.
On the positive side, if you're one of these people who thought the tiny pocket-sized portable Game Boy Advance was missing big old handlebars, well then you're going to love this product. And it's got a really good price point.
On the negative side, we thought the battery life in the Game Boy Advance SP was pretty good already, and neither Tommy or I want giant handlebars on our Game Boy Advance SP. Stick around. Versus is coming up next with a look at 2 soccer games. Seriously.
No, do you have Daphne, the Daphne action figure from Dragon's Lair? You know, Oh. Hey, I'm talking about Toy Commander for the Sega Dreamcast. How cool is it to play with toys? That's right, it's very cool. Now, we all remember and love the movie Toy Story, right? The Pixar film where, you know, you had all your little toys come to life. Well, this is kind of similar to that, but not really. Now, the great thing is that the graphics were really, really colorful and vibrant. I mean, obviously, you know, you're in, like, bedrooms and things like that. The action was really fun. The frame rate was really good. They had all sorts of missions you go on. It wasn't just, you know, flying around killing things, but you had to do, like, other things as well. And you could pick up health and, you know, repair your toys and stuff. Look at the cover. The cover just gets good marks because it's so... you're killing a teddy bear. That's awful. I can't believe I just noticed that. You know, blowing up a teddy bear. That's not very nice. Not very nice.
Today on Versus, we're going to take a look at 2 soccer games for the PlayStation 2. We've got World Tour Soccer 2005 from Sony versus Winning 11-7 International from Konami. Now, let's talk about the visuals for these 2 games. What did you think?
What a dumb name. Can we talk about the name? Do we rate the names in these verses?
I know the names.
Winning 11-7?
I've never liked that
Come
name.
on.
Yes.
7-11.
All right. Okay.
So 7-11 has some great visuals. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable the way the grass looks and all that
the lighting,
stuff.
The shadows.
The lighting, the shadows, the characters. But I gotta say that World Tour also was unbelievable. The character faces
are great.
The characters themselves and the way they move on screen.
You know what impressed me the most about World Tour was the ability to create and edit your own coaches and managers. You can actually make 50-year-old guys with beards and different hairstyles.
And they actually show them in the game when you win matches and things. They can, you know, jump up and down.
Now, when comparing the players in each of the games, though, the players in World Tour, to me, the faces are really cool, but their animations are kind of stiff. They kind of look like mannequins a little bit compared to the fluidity and the grace of the players in Winning 11-7. I couldn't believe the animations of these soccer players in that game.
There is one animation that I love, and both games have it.
What's that?
It's the one where the guys cover their nuts.
Right.
Before, you know, when they're...
That's probably the most important animation.
When somebody's about to kick on goal, they both got that, oh my God, you're gonna kick my nuts!
I just love all of the ways that the animations were connected in Winning 11-7 too.
Yeah,
it's not like they're just going into headers and stuff like that and bicycle kicks. It's just all so incredibly fluid. So in terms of visuals, which game did you think looked the best?
Man, it's really tough because one game does certain things better, other games... I gotta give them a tie.
A tie?
Yeah.
I'm definitely giving it to Winning 11-7. Now, what did you think of the audio for these 2 games?
Again, it's a really close thing here. I mean, I thought the commentators in World Tour were a little better because they seemed more natural, and the guys in Winning 11-7 seemed a little more stiff and read off paper. But then what's great about Winning 11 is that they had, like, the whistling sound, you know, that...
Awesome. The crowds
sound
are amazing
when they're doing that.
11-7.
But the crowds are better in World Tour
I don't think
because
so.
they do all the chants and they do all the country chants and all the
this chanting
more,
in Winning 11-7
more realistic.
I was a little disappointed that neither game had surround sound, though. They're both stereo, which I thought was a little bit weird.
Well, this is an area that EA wraps up every year with FIFA, and when you compare it to the best out there, FIFA, they both fall short.
Yeah, absolutely. But if I had to choose audio that I enjoyed more out of the 2 games, it would be for Winning 11-7.
I would once again give them a tie. I liked certain elements of both games, but none jumped out at me.
All right, Matt, let's talk now about the gameplay for these 2 titles. What did you think about those?
I gotta tell you, the artificial intelligence on Winning 7-11...
Winning 11-7.
...is unbelievable.
Never gonna get that name
I mean, it's really incredible. I mean, guys will, on the other team, will, like, pass backwards if there's a guy back. I mean, they'll set up formations. They're very intelligent, I thought.
Loved it.
The camera angle takes a little getting used to. It's kind of a little jumpy at first,
no
whereas
problems with
World
the camera
Tour is back a little more. You can actually see the audience in World Tour. And I felt the controls were a little more arcadey and simpler
Absolutely.
in World Tour.
Now, there was online play in the European version of World Tour.
Yeah, what happened there?
But this time, all they did is they allow you to sort of compare and compete with stats. And
Come
you know,
on.
I know. I would like
where's
to
the
play
online
a
version?
fluid online soccer game. FIFA, you can play online, but it's a little bit choppy. There's no question in my mind, Winning 11 has a much tighter gameplay.
I agree, because of the artificial intelligence on the other teams is just phenomenal, and it's all about competition.
So overall, then, which soccer game did you like better for the PS2?
I think Winning 11-7 is a more in-depth game. It
Yep.
has a better presentation overall. I got to go with that one.
I'm all over Winning 11-7. Great game. I really enjoyed the World Tour soccer game as well, but Winning 11 is beautiful. I even liked it better than EA's FIFA.
Not me. Now you're starting to get into dangerous territory there.
All right, so if you had to score Winning 11-7, what would you give it?
I'd give it an 8.
9.5 for me. What would you give World Tour Soccer 2005?
7.5.
I would give that a 7.5 as well. So there's no contest here. Winning 11-7 is the
Winning
soccer title.
11-7.
It is the superior soccer experience.
And they're open 24 hours.
Today on the show, we took a look at Carve for the Xbox. This is a good-looking game with a good price point and Xbox Live compatibility, but unfortunately, there's just not enough people playing this one online. On the PC, we looked at Battlefield Vietnam. There's some cool weapons and vehicles to try out in the sequel to Battlefield 1942, but the Vietnam War was a little too sanitized for our liking. On the GameCube, we looked at Bomberman Jetters. This one features some pretty fun single-player gameplay as well as some awesome multiplayer options. Tommy hated pretty much everything about this one. In Versus, we looked at two cool new soccer games for the PlayStation 2. It was Winning 11-7 International from Konami against World Tour Soccer 2005. There are some good features in both of these games, but if you're looking for the ultimate soccer experience for the PS2, you gotta pick up Winning 11-7. In hardware, we looked at Hipgear's Grip with 20-hour battery for the Game Boy Advance SP. We thought this peripheral would be great for folks that want giant handlebars on their Game Boy Advance SP. Hands up, who wants that? For the Game Boy Advance, I reviewed Fire Emblem. This is a fantastic turn-based strategy game that has awesome RPG elements. It's one of my favorite portable games of all time. Well, thanks for watching the show. We'll see you guys next time. I think right now what we want to do is do some slow-motion running down the beach.
You brought your Speedo,
I brought
correct?
my Speedos.
All right, time to strip down.
All right, should we go to the slow motion?
Let's get meaty.
Let's do it.